How's it going, everybody? You know who it is. My name is Sunwoo, and in today's video I'm gonna give you a quick review / tutorial of the Ghost module by Endorphins and Andrew Huang. So just in case you haven't obsessed over this module enough yet, let me give you a quick rundown of its features. It's got a VCA, it's got distortion overdrive, it's got a filter, delay, reverb, it's got bit crushing, sample rate reduction, a compressor, it's got sidechaining, and I probably missed something, but those are the main features. And the best part about this is that all these features are available at the same time. So this is not a multi-effects unit where you gotta choose one or the other effect. All of these effects are available at the same time, and most of them even have dedicated knobs for them. There are some shift functions, but they are quite easy to reach. This is the shift button, and then you turn a knob and get to its shift function, but we'll get into that later. For now, let's make a simple patch and hear what it sounds like. So now I'm gonna go from the sine output of the Godspeed oscillator into the input of Ghost, and we already have a sound. And now all we need is an envelope going into the VCA input. The envelope is here, and you can hear something's happening already. And we already got a complete Eurorack voice using an envelope, an oscillator, and the Endorphins Ghost module. But that's a little bit simple. And that's why I'm gonna send volt per octave from my OP1 into the shuttle control and then into the Godspeed oscillator, as well as the trigger signal from the OP1 going through here into my envelope. And I'm gonna set that right here and there. So now theoretically, if I play something here, we can play our Eurorack voice. All right, now let's go through the signal path of Ghost. First up, next to the input right here, we've got a shift function. Shift and this knob lets us regulate the input gain. So turn it down and turn it up. At the far end, we will get some overdrive. Let's put it back here in the middle. Over here, we've got another very important shift function. That is our wet, dry or dry wet level of the complete module. So if I have it all the way to the left when pressing this button, it's going to be the dry signal, no effect added. But as I turn it to the right, we got a 50-50 mix of dry wet or just the wet mix. Let's keep it at completely wet for now. And I'm going to turn my delay and reverb off. Then furthermore, we've got a volume knob here for the output volume. Yeah, let's keep it right here. This knob here without the shift function is something like a tilt EQ or a DJ style filter. So if we turn it to the left, it's going to be low pass filter. For the input signal, or to the right, a high pass filter. So a filter before the main filter. And next up, we've got the distortion. And how this sounds depends on which routing I've selected, because I can select to go first into my effects, then into the distortion, then into the VCF, or first into the distortion, then the VCF, then the effects, or lastly, first through the filter, then through the effects, then into the distortion, but we'll get into that later. Next up, we've got a shift function on this knob, which has been added recently with the new update, and that's the bit crusher. So really nice to get more grimy sounds. But let's turn that down for now. Let's speed the sequence up to make it more interesting. And then of course we've got the very noticeable filter frequency knob. To the left, it's a low pass filter. And to the right, it's a high pass filter. Of course we got resonance as well, which I think is quite subtle, or rather it's not aggressive even when you turn it up all the way. So it's a very usable resonance, and yeah, your signal will never get too intense basically. Some people might like that, some people might not. I personally like it. And it doesn't self-oscillate. Furthermore, on the resonance we got another shift function. If we press the routing button and then turn it up, we've got sample rate reduction, which again just came recently with an update, and this is one of my favorite features. Let's turn the resonance up again and play with the filter frequency. We can get these nice vowel-like sounds. Anyway, that's the sample rate reduction from 0 to completely destroyed. Let's turn it off for now. Of course, we can modulate the filter frequency as well. Let's put it here. And send an LFO in it. We've got an attenuverter for this here, which is very nice. So you can dial in just the right amount. Okay, now that we get to the delay, let's turn the speed of the sequence down again. This knob here is the delay dry-wet mix. As I turn it to the right, we'll hear more of the delay. Here we've got a 50-50 mix. And all the way to the right, we only hear the delayed signal. Then we've got the number of repeats. And the speed, of course. And the delay speed can get very fast, and you can do K+strong synthesis with it, which I'm not going to do in this tutorial. You can also tap tempo, and you have a clock input for the delay, so it can be synced to whichever sequence you're playing, which we're going to do in a minute. Furthermore, you have another tilt EQ or filter kind of thing for the repeats of the delay, which we can access again with a shift function, this one and this knob. To the left, there's a low pass filter on the repeats. To the right, a high pass filter. And in the middle, it's neutral. Then we've got different modes for the delay that we can access with these two buttons by holding this one and then pressing this one. And we've got 3 different modes that you can see there. And these different delay options allow you to either have a normal stereo signal in the delay or bounce back and forth the sides of the delay. That's up to you which sound you prefer, but it's nice to have these options very easily accessible here. Okay, let's turn the delay down and introduce some reverb with the, again, dry-wet mix, this time for the reverb. It's all the way dry now. And if I turn it, we're at 50-50 or all the way wet. And you can hear it gets very interesting when you got it all the way to the right. But let's do 50-50 for now, or something like that. Then we've got the tail of the reverb, so how long is our reverb, how big does our room sound? Smaller or bigger. And if we're all the way to the right, we've got a shimmer reverb. If we combine this with the mix, it can get very, very crazy. Let's add a little bit of delay. And on top of that, we've got another shift function here, which is the pre-delay for our reverb. We can also reverse the reverb or freeze it. When the freeze is activated, the module will always be at 100% wet, I believe, so everything is frozen until I unfreeze it or defrost it. Sorry for the dad joke. And you can also have a gate input here that freezes the module as well, or the reverb. Then while we're down here, we've got this button, which turns this filter from a low pass, high pass filter into a band pass filter. Or with the shift function into a comb filter. That sounds quite cool. And the cool thing about this module is that although there are a lot of functions packed into this, most of the functions can be controlled with CV, and the CV inputs are right next to the knobs that they are controlling, which I think is very nice. And also the knobs will turn into attenuators once you have CV plugged into the inputs. One peculiar thing though is that, for example, if I am modulating the resonance. Let's do that quickly. So now I'm modulating the resonance. As soon as I press the routing button, that will switch this function to be the sample rate reduction, as you may remember. And you can hear that the sound of this changes too, because now I'm actually modulating the sample rate reduction while I'm holding down shift. And now it jumps back to controlling the resonance. I wish there was a way to decide what I actually want to modulate, either the resonance or the sample rate reduction, or maybe both of them. So that would be really cool if that could be implemented in a future firmware. I really hope so, because I would love to modulate the sample rate reduction. Let's turn this to a normal low pass filter again. And the next feature that I really like about the Ghost module is the sidechain input, as well as the knob that selects the sidechain strength or the length of the sidechained envelope. And for that, I'm going to be sending clock signals from here into the sidechain input. The clock signal will go with whatever is playing on my OP1 right now. So I plug it in here. And if I press play on my OP1, you see that this light flashes, and this is the envelope length of the sidechain, as well as the depth, depending on how bright it is. So let's play these drums here. And again, play the arpeggio. And now I can select the depth of the side chaining again with a shift function. as you can hear now, my audio from the Godspeed oscillator gets completely cut off whenever a trigger is received here. And for how long it cuts off, I can decide with the envelope length. Now I've got a super long envelope, so I don't hear my melody anymore. But now I've got a shorter envelope. So what I like to do is first have the envelope depth very deep so the sound gets cut off completely, and then dial in the length of the envelope. And then maybe tone it down a little bit. So this sidechain function, I think, is super useful to get a more harmonious mix going. Some sample rate reduction. A little bit of bit crushing. And then, of course, last but not least, we've got a compressor here. Not compressed. And completely compressed signal. And lastly, let's get back to the routing button, which, as I said earlier, allows you to change the order of your effects with a single click and therefore alter your sound drastically. And there are 3 options. Okay, and that's already it for this little overview. Now to the review part of this module. I think it's a super powerful module that can help you to dial in a single Eurorack voice super quickly, and it all sounds very nice. The delay sounds good, the reverb sounds good. I love the sample rate reduction and bit crusher included. There's just so much packed into this small module that helps you to just get a good sound from a very simple sound source. And at the same time, I feel it's quite easy to use and still gives you a lot of modulation option over all the parameters. And of course, this being a multi-effects unit means that if you want a crazy delay with multiple modulatable parameters, this probably is not for you. But if you want a reliable utilitarian delay as well as reverb and a distortion and all the other good stuff in one unit, this is a perfect module. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but gives you so much possibilities for sound design and just making, as I said, a very simple sound really nice. And on top of that, the sidechain input helps you to glue your sound together. The compressor does as well. And also this module accepts line level very nice. So I could go just from the OP1 straight into this module and just have a nice sounding multi-effects module if I don't have anything else. So I think the Ghost module is highly usable, sounds very nice. I don't have any noise issues that some people have complained about. I think it sounds very good. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss the next video. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a wonderful time. Peace.